Welcome to another episode of the Locker Room Podcast. Today, we're talking about something that truly is underrated and often not given in the dance and audition world, which is direct feedback. You audition for a team, you don't make it onto the team, and yet you never know why you didn't make it. And this could be the very reason why you're stuck. And it could also be the reason of why you are about to level up. So you've been taking all the classes and you're still wondering why you're not making it to finals, onto the team, or past a certain round of the audition process. If that sounds like you, this episode is for you. This past week, I was actually at a ads conference, and it was to learn about everything ads, and my ads coach was there, and also my sales coach was actually there. She was one of the keynote speakers, and she started her session all about being coachable. And she said there are things that you can do and there are things that you should not do. And first, what not to do. Don't get defensive, right? So if you are hearing something that you don't necessarily want to hear, or maybe you've been told it so many times and you feel like you've been working on it, and so you're just frustrated and on defense of like, why is this just not working? That is exactly what you shouldn't be doing, right? Next, you shouldn't be fighting for your limitations. Oh, well, I work better in person and virtual is just not my thing. Or I don't have enough space in my house to practice. Or, oh, my schedule's, it won't fit practice right now. If you want to have your limitations, then take them. If you want those things that are holding you back, then you can have them, right? So don't fight for those limitations. And then also don't not do what you're told, right? You can be in the best environment and be getting feedback, but if you don't actually implement it, it will not take you anywhere. So what should you do? Instead of getting defensive when you're given feedback and someone gives you advice, ask yourself, is there anything in this piece of feedback that is true, right? Is there one little nugget, maybe the whole thing isn't valid, but is there one piece that is true that you can take and expand upon, improve upon, or iterate on, right? That's what you should be doing instead of like getting this defensive and like negative kind of attitude. You can turn it into a positive and say, is there something in this that's valid? You can also ask for advice. Hey, I'm actually struggling with X, Y, and Z. Can you just help me on figuring out how to best do it? Like, I know for me, I grew up a lyrical dancer and a jazz dancer, and I'm long, and so I was soft and flowy, right? When I entered the pro dance world, I was told that I needed to dance bigger and sharper and harder and more full out, but that wasn't tangible until I had someone in front of me showing me and giving me the feedback on exactly what that meant for me, my body, and my movements as a dancer. Okay, next, you are going to do what you're told. Easier said than done, right? Cool, yeah, I'll just do what I'm told. But sometimes our mind just gets in the way and our thoughts get in the way, and it can sometimes be easier to revert back to those thoughts or feelings or actions that you've been taking in the past that feel comfortable, right? We are going to need to be pushed outside of our comfort zone so we can improve, because what got you here may not be the thing that gets you to the pro level. And so a lot of those things are going to be your thoughts and your actions that need to shift to make it so it's a yes from the judges. And then the last thing that you are going to do as a coachable dancer is that you're going to go all in. You need to be bought in to this experience. You need to go all in on your training, so when you do show up to auditions and you're like, I feel so good because I did everything that I possibly could to improve, to grow, to be the best dancer that I possibly can be. And when you do that, you'll go into auditions at ease, knowing you did it and it's in the judge's hands, right? You're not going to question, oh, could I have gone more? Could I have done this? Could I have done that? You will just know that you did everything that you possibly can when you are bought in and when you go all in on your training, yourself, and your improvement as a dancer. And here's the thing. When I was at this conference, there was 200 people in the room. Every single person knew. They knew about pro dance. They knew about, I'm your go-to girl to get you onto an NFL and NBA team. And they also knew how badly I wanted it for you. Because every time I talked about it, I got emotional. I get emotional every single time I talk about you and your goals and wanting it so bad for you. Why? Because I've been in your shoes. I have been told no, and I've had no reasoning behind it. I've been cut. I've made it to finals and not made it. I went for my veteran year and I didn't make it back on the team. And I want it so bad for you because I know how amazing this experience can be, but I can't want it more than you do. You have to want this experience for yourself to go all in, to be bought in, to do everything that it takes to make it, right? I want it for you, but you need to want it more than I do. And that is where being coachable and doing what you're told and being fully bought in on your training and your growth is so, so essential. And today, that is why we are going to dive into how you show up for yourself through your practicing and getting feedback. If you feel like one of the pieces that you are missing and needing to work on is your performance, or you are a college dance team member, competition dancer, and you want to learn how to perform more like a pro NBA NFL dancer, I want to invite you to the Perform Like a Pro workshop. If you DM me on Instagram at the Cultivate Code, you can DM me the word workshop and I'll send you the link. You can also go to cultivatecode.co/workshop and you can sign up for our next session. All right. Let's start with talking about deliberate practice. And what is it? There's a difference between practicing and deliberate practicing, right? So there's actually a psychologist named Anders Ericsson, and he coined the term after studying elite performers from violinists to athletes. And he found that talent wasn't actually the biggest factor in their success. It was how they practiced. Deliberate practice is intentional. You're focused on one area at a time. So often we're like, oh, I need to dance more full out. I need to dance with facials. I need to do my glam, do my hair, do all of these different things. And when you are so scattered in what you're doing, it can often take away from the end goal of making one little improvement every single time. Oftentimes, dancers will also be getting like input from various different reasons. They're like, oh, well, this person told me to do this, and this person told me to do this. Yet this person told me to do this, and now I'm confused. When you have deliberate practice and you're laser focused on one thing at a time, it helps you move that needle just a little bit faster and further when you have intention behind it. Next, in deliberate practice is challenging. It is going to stretch you and push your boundaries. And that's great because you then will know how much further you can push yourself, right? How often are you taking a dance class and you're like, cool, I just performed it in front of everyone. I'm good. Let me go back home and forget about this routine, right? Deliberate practice and then revisiting the routine, that can make such an impact on you. And if you're just doing what's comfortable for you, then you might not necessarily be challenged or stretched. And then the next piece is that deliberate practice, it is reflective. It includes feedback and adjustment. Going back to that class example, you learn a routine in an hour, you dance in small groups, and then you forget about it. What if you could do what they do on a team and you learn it? And then you revisit it and you actually clean the routine. That's actually something that we do in all of our programs. Every time you learn a routine, you go through and you clean it. And at the end of our choreography sessions, you get feedback of, hey, this needs a little bit of improvement, XYZ, right? Between the learning and the cleaning session, you get to go home, soak it in, figure out what kind of learner you are, and then you bring back the routine as if you were on a team. When you're on a team, you are spending multiple hours on one routine. And if you could get that experience with feedback, it can be such a game changer for you, because then you know exactly what you need to work on. And that comes with your deliberate, intentional practice. Without feedback, you are just repeating the same thing, hoping that it clicks. And with feedback, you get to adjust in real time. You course correct, and you don't just work harder, you work smarter. If a plane takes off in LA and is headed to New York, and if it is off just by 1 degree, it will end up nearly 40 miles off course, potentially landing in Philadelphia instead of New York City. A small misalignment early on, if not corrected, compounds over time and can lead you so off track from your goal. And this is just the importance of always getting feedback, always course correcting, always just making it 1 inch better, 1% better, right? The power of small, consistent actions lead up over time, and it's just that snowball effect that is ultimately going to get you to where you want to be, which is being on a pro team, right? And this is why direct feedback truly matters early on. Feedback, it can also be uncomfortable, right? It is also the fastest way that you can grow and improve. When you have a coach watching you, you fix your mistakes before they become habits, and you start working on the right things that are actually going to get you on the team, instead of worrying about what hair color should I have or what outfit am I wearing to auditions. Those pieces are so small in the grand scheme of the audition process that if you're not focusing on the right things, like being a brand ambassador, what your resume looks like, having the presence to perform like an entertainer, if you're just focusing on those wrong things, it's not going to show up as the best dancer that you possibly can, just because you might be focusing on the wrong things. Think about this. How many times have you thought you were dancing full out, only to see yourself on camera and think, wow, I felt like I was dancing so much harder than that, right? A coach shortens the gap for you. They show you how you can be perceived and help you close that gap and the distance between what you're giving and what you can actually deliver. Because sometimes it's so much easier for us to get complacent, right? Like I said, if you're just taking class, if you're just getting someone who's telling you that, yeah, sweetie, you're doing a good job, right? Versus someone saying, hey, I think we can go a little bit harder than that. We're going to go full out every single time, right? That is the difference for you showing up to auditions ready to go, and you who might feel like you're performing as hard as you can, but you actually have more to get. And here's the thing. When you're on a team, you don't have the time to figure out how to be pushed to dance full out. Especially in the NBA, it is like a million miles an hour. You have 41 home games plus pre and postseason plus appearances. NFL, you have 8 to 10 games and you have so many appearances and so many practices, right? You don't have the time to figure it out when you're on the team, especially if you have a super solid like veteran class and you're only one of a few rookies making it onto the team. That is truly when it is sink or swim time, because you have to keep up to the level of the veterans who are in the room. And the great news is that it's just going to raise your level and improve how you show up every single day when you're on a team. But you have to be at a certain level already to make it onto the squad to begin with. So last night we had a cleaning session, and one of the dancers who was in our program, she signed up for our program after she saw me at her semifinal audition. She didn't make it past semifinals, and I was giving her feedback like I would if I was judging her. One of the pieces of feedback that I had for her when I was judging her in semifinals was, hey, you have to smile more, right? You have to be engaging and have performance and be this electrifying dancer, because at the end of the day, you are auditioning to be an entertainer. You're part of the entertainment organization. And that just one piece of feedback last night completely changed how she showed up during the next round of performing it, right? And what if you could get those breakthroughs every single time that you showed up for yourself in a session, right? Wouldn't that be amazing? You would just keep getting better and better and better every single time. And that is truly what I want for you. This is where the power of direct feedback can help you take what you can't see and bring it to light and be able to show you, hey, these are actually the things that I'm seeing right now, and these are the things that are going to help you improve. And feedback isn't just technical, right? It is also mental. Being coached is one of the biggest indicators of success. Teams want dancers who take direction, adjust, and apply it quickly. If you've ever been to a prep class and the coach or judge gives you or the room feedback, and you go to the next prep class and you iterated on that feedback, that chef's kiss is the coaches and judges' dream, to see you taking feedback, iterating and improving on it every single time. And when you do get that feedback, even if it's not directly given to you, always apply it to yourself, because you never know if you are also making that mistake that you can improve upon. Feedback also trains your mindset, right? You stop taking things personally and start seeing critiques as fuel. That is how you build resilience. And that is how you truly become unstoppable. Alex Hormozi says that resilience is the ability to bounce back from things that go wrong, and you become more resilient by bouncing back faster. I know that if you've heard a no, it is hard to get back in the saddle and just get up again and start dancing again. And that is the very reason why, if you hear a rejection or you hear a no, you should get back in the game. Because if you could bounce back faster every single time, you will become unstoppable and you will become the most resilient athlete in the room. And instead of thinking, how do I avoid things going wrong? Because it's inevitable, it will. Think instead, how can I get back faster and increase the threshold for the things that knock me off my plan? So if you are ready for feedback that can actually move the needle in your performance, I invite you to join the Perform Like a Pro workshop. We are breaking down what it takes to actually look ready for a pro dance audition, and you'll walk away with steps to stand out both in person and virtually. You can head to thecultivatecode.co/workshop, or you can check it out in the link in the show notes, and I cannot wait to see you there. If this episode hit home for you, I would just love it if you could share this with one of your dance friends who may need this reminder too, of feedback is a gift, and it is what separates the good from the great. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you next week, or I will see you in the workshop.